When I meet with a client and determine that they want to apply for a family-based adjustment of status application, whether it's petitioning for a parent, child, or spouse, one of the first things we talk about is explaining that they need to get a medical examination done because the process can take several weeks sometimes. Sometimes it's faster. It depends on the situation, depends on the doctor's office you use, and it depends on what shows up on certain tests like your tuberculosis screening. And the purpose of this medical examination is really twofold. One, it's to determine that you're up to date on your vaccinations, and two, it's to make sure that you don't have any diseases that are of public health significance, like syphilis or gonorrhea, or I already mentioned tuberculosis. They test for many other things as well, by the way. A recent update is that the Trump administration got rid of the COVID vaccination requirement, which was really bothering a lot of people. So I guess that's good news for people who are opposed to the COVID vaccine. The way the medical examination usually works is, first of all, we have to find a physician's office who can perform the medical examination. A question that people commonly ask me is, well, can my health insurance pay for it, assuming you have health insurance? And the answer is no. I've never seen a physician's office accept health insurance for the USCIS medical examination. So what you do is you have to go on the USCIS website. If you just Google USCIS find a civil surgeon, the first link that pops up will allow you to search using your zip code for USCIS certified physicians near you. And these are just private doctor's offices who make a little bit extra money completing these USCIS medical examinations. I've seen prices for this examination range anywhere from like $250 all the way up to $1,000. I generally tell people that around $400 is like the median price. That's probably a good price to pay, but it's really geography specific. So call 2 or 3 of the doctors that show up when you input your zip code and just ask them, how much do you guys charge for your medical examination? And they might say like, it depends on how many vaccinations you need. Ask them, how much is your base price, assuming I don't need any vaccinations? And if this is time sensitive, how quickly can you schedule me for my first appointment? Because you might have to go back several times. Sometimes they take a blood screening to see which antibodies you have, and then they'll recommend different vaccinations. And I've even heard doctors say things like, listen, it'll take longer if we do a blood screening first. Why don't we just give you all the vaccinations? And you know, it depends what you're comfortable with. You might get sick from just taking like 8 different vaccinations in one day. I don't know, I'm not a doctor. But for sure, if you do get additional vaccinations, the price for the medical examination is going to be much higher. Now, something that happened recently is a client of mine went for the medical examination and the doctor actually drug tested them. And this has never happened to any of my clients before. I've done like thousands of these medical examinations with my clients. I've never once seen a doctor drug test. And the client tested positive for THC. So be aware that it is possible that you will be drug tested during this. There's a whole section on the medical examination which you can read yourself. It's form I-693. If you just Google I-693, you can find the actual medical examination form that the physician needs to fill out. And there is a whole section that talks about substance abuse disorders. And so do not use any substances before you complete these medical examinations because it can create a huge problem. You know, marijuana is still federally illegal and a huge problem for USCIS purposes. So just keep that in mind. Once you complete the medical examination, the physician will give you the results in a sealed envelope. And the envelope will say, for USCIS only, do not open. And you cannot open it. We have to mail that envelope sealed to USCIS along with all of your other adjustment of status applications, documents, fees, photos, and everything else. So it all goes in one big package. However, the physician will give you a client copy of it, so it's not a secret. You'll know what is in the envelope, but you still cannot open the envelope. A question that people regularly ask me is, how soon in advance should I complete the medical examination? And the general answer is, do it at least 2 weeks before you want to submit everything to USCIS. The process can take longer than 2 weeks, but usually for like 95% of my clients, The whole process takes about 2 weeks. Within the past year, actually, USCIS changed their policy such that the medical examination does not expire. So you can get it further in advance if you'd like, but sometimes that's not strategically a good idea, especially if you've entered the US on like a tourist visa and you don't want to do anything generally within the first 90 days to suggest that you actually intend to permanently live in the United States, because it can create the presumption of fraudulent intent, which means you entered the US as a tourist with the fraudulent intent to permanently reside here. So before you complete the medical examination, speak with an attorney. Generally speaking, you don't want to do it within 90 days of entering the US. As long as you don't file it within 90 days of entering the US, you can really complete it at any time, but I recommend doing it 2 weeks before you want to submit everything to USCIS. All right, guys, that's just a short video on the medical examination because I get a lot of questions about this, so hopefully this helps someone out there. If you are going through the marriage-based green card process or you want to petition for a different family member, you could always reach out to me, schedule a consultation. I would be more than happy to speak with you about your case. We can create a strategy and see how I can best assist you. You can find my information in the video description below, and I'll see you guys next time for another video.